Getting now Maria Pizurenko from Kyiv. Maria has been now for days reporting for India Today, getting us the ground update. Maria, streets or the bomb shelters, you've been everywhere. You've brought us the updates. 22 days on, what does Kyiv city, what does Ukraine look like, and what is the expectation about the war in the next few days?
Yes, so right now I'm on an empty child's playground, and these pictures, such pictures really break the heart of everybody staying here. But here in Kyiv, the situation is really peaceful and calm, at least for now, because the night, every night for 3 days in a row already have been very hectic. And you see the different transport going on. For example, this is the van of Ukrainian Postal Service. I have seen today a lot of sanitation vehicle going about the city, trying to clean the city. So life kind of trying to go as normal, and people are trying to live their lives, to go grocery shopping, walk dogs. So today, I have to say, incredibly, a lot of people are in the streets of city centers, so people are understanding that this is not going to be over like tomorrow or in 2 days. So they have to plan and build their plans for their life and to support themselves. But as we see the reports from Mariupol, from deadly strikes on the bomb shelter, which is beneath the theater, as we see other atrocities conducted by Russians, everybody understands that Kyiv is the main target, and the same could happen. But the military and the armed forces are kind of the power which is trusted by people. People are doing everything to support the military and to give them kind of the support they need to fight back, to repel Russians. And this is what the Ukrainian army has been successfully doing for 22 days in a row. Of course, we do not know the amount of casualties right now, of civilian killed. For example, we know only in Mariupol, more than 2,000 people, civilian people, were killed during all the strikes that we have seen for the recent weeks. But for now, also we have other numbers of casualties among Russian troops, which is more than 13,000 people. And this is what gives us the feel that Ukraine does really repel the Russian aggression. And of course, Russian army does outnumber Ukrainian, but it can't outnumber the power of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian armed forces.
Maria, thank you for your report. Stay safe. I'll come back to you in just a short while. Also, thank you to Solamia for speaking to us, telling her what is precisely the status here. Day 22 of invasion in Ukraine. Russia continues to attack cities, causing very heavy damage now. The city of Kharkiv continues to be the worst hit. A market in Kharkiv was bombed, following which the fire raged on for hours, with smoke engulfing the nearby buildings as well. Russia has released a video of their brutal airstrikes on Ukraine. The video shows missile attacks that burn an area into ashes within minutes. A theatre where hundreds took shelter was also bombed. All the people who took refuge in the theatre are trapped in the debris. The capital city of Kyiv continues to face back-to-back attacks. A rocket that hit a residential area destroyed the neighborhood, but the Ukrainians are refusing to give up. Their resistance has also caused significant damage to the Russian military. Ukraine are claiming with regard to attacking Russian tanks that were firing at shelters across Mariupol. The city has been hard hit by Russian shells and air bombs. Ukraine says it also shot down a Russian chopper at Mykolaiv.
В нашем селе, чтоб не говорили, приземлили не до ласточку. Херам собачьим. БК не отстрелян, не успел. Ракеты на месте. Нусы не сработали. Не успел.
All right, so point, let's take you through these images coming in from different cities across Ukraine. This is what Ukraine looks like right now. There is still firing, gutted buildings, a plume of smoke. And remember, this is day 22, and Ukraine says they are refusing to give up at this point, while of course there are sanctions that are being put on Russia as well. Take a look at these 6 different images that are coming in from the country. Now remember, this is also about air raids, sirens and all possible technicalities that that are being used by the Ukrainian government. For example, the Battle of Kyiv is also about the Kamikaze drones now. These are super stealthy unmanned drone that carries explosives, warhead evading air defense, and importantly, slipping past enemy line. And that is why perhaps this is suddenly gaining traction with regard to the Battle of Kyiv. This means seeking out the target that has been fed. For example, the image that you see on your screen as well, hovering over the target for an opportune time, then hits the target, explodes in a suicide strike manner, which can be then used in a swarm drone systems. The top speed at this point, we are being told, is about 130 km/h. The payload that it can carry is about 3 kilograms and the flight duration is about 30 minutes. So of course, different equipments are being used 20 days on with regard to the war in Ukraine. So at this point, remember, to counter the Russian death drones striking Ukraine, the US has now appeared to be supplying Ukraine with switchable drones, which work on a suicide mission mode. The same drones, these are small. They carry warhead that detonate on impact. Russia, on its part, has been using stealthy suicide drones to attack the Ukrainian army.
Ukraine standing up to Moscow's offensive despite weeks of ravaging assault, showing unparalleled courage and spirit rarely seen in recent times. Showing it can be a match to Moscow's superior military might and far sophisticated weaponry, but Russia on its part has been using stealthy suicide drones to attack the Ukrainian army. These unmanned drones, evading radar and traditional air defense system, can slip past enemy line of fire. This devil in the sky is lethal, using loitering munitions which wait passively in the air, hovering over the target before coming down in one deathly swoop. The drone falls head first along a vertical trajectory similar to Kamikaze's, a Japanese aircraft loaded with explosives and making a deliberate suicidal crash on an enemy target. Russia is using these drones to make precision attacks on military targets in Ukraine. Each of them packs a small explosive charge up to 3 kgs. Targets are fed into the drone or through an image uploaded on its control system. The drone then finds its target and drops itself to blow the target into smithereens. These loitering munition drones are multi-purpose and used as part of a swarm of drones, flying silently as fast as 130 km/h with a flight duration of 30 minutes. To counter Russian depth drones, the US is now supplying Ukraine with Switchblade drones, which works in similar kamikaze fashion. The small drones made by AeroVironment Ammunition Major carrying warhead detonate on impact. Bureau Report, India Today.
What kind of drones are now being used in Ukraine? Very importantly and specifically are the Kamikaze drone. Take a look at this. Very interesting. These are super stealthy unmanned drone. It carries explosives, warhead that can evade the air defense systems, which means it can slip past an enemy line as well. Therefore, what does it do? It seeks out a target that is fed via an image. It hovers over the target, waits for an opportune time. Right when it is specific, it hits the target and explodes in a suicide strike mission that can be used in a swarm drone system. The top speed of these Kamikaze drones is 130 km/h, and it can also carry a payload of about 3 kilograms. Now, the flight duration, the manner in which it can hover around the target and then strike, is about 30 minutes, which is long enough for it to be hitting the target. So remember, now Kamikaze drones also making an entry into the Ukrainian war. But of course, what is the impact on the ground? The impact is of devastating images and scenes, and this faced by civilians. This is at the last hospital in Mariupol, the lone hospital standing, as all others are either bombed out of and by Russia. Bodies are piling up. Doctors say they cannot save all of them. Many lined up in the basement since the mortuary in the city is now full. The hospital is now serving as an emergency center, maternity ward and morgue. The dead include a large number of infant babies as well. The injured, many of whom are grievously hurt, have filled up every nook and corner of the hospital. It is the most heart-wrenching footage that has yet come out of the war that is ongoing in Ukraine. Take a look at these visuals. Of course, we have tried to be as sensitive as possible with these visuals. Earlier reports claimed Russian troops had taken some patients hostage also at a hospital. This is the besieged Mariupol, remember, on just one side, which means a full-scale invasion on February 24, and the city has since then faced bombardment. And with this Russia-Ukraine war entering into day 22, children remaining the biggest victim of this war. The invasion is turning a child refugee every second with the data that is coming in. And this data has been released by the UNICEF, recently stating that around 1.5 million children have fled Ukraine in the past 3 weeks. Russia intensifies its attack on Ukraine. There seems no end to these heartbreaking images. The neighboring countries are opening doors, especially for the traumatized young refugee children. For some, what was a normal childhood just about weeks ago in February is now a nightmare with an uncertain future. One by one, as these images come in, take a look. This is capital city Kyiv, a dusty basement to hide from shelling, a shelter for newborn babies. There are 21 babies born to surrogates in this hospital. Nurses are taking care as much as they can of these babies as the fighting just above on the ground, making it impossible for their parents to reach them and take care.
More than 200 schools, around 35 hospitals, and hundreds of residential buildings, possibly close to 2,000, have been destroyed since the war began in Ukraine. Towns and villages across the eastern half of the besieged country do not have electricity and water. And in the intense cold of the snow-covered terrain, there is no heat. Millions of ordinary Ukrainians are hiding in bunkers and shelters, shivering in the cold uncertainty of mounting loss. UNICEF has put up this appeal on their landing page on Ukraine. Children in Ukraine are facing a deadly crisis as the hostilities in their country are increasing. Like all conflicts, this is turning into a children's crisis, and they will need as much humanitarian support and help as we can provide. UNICEF says there are 7.5 million children in Ukraine, and the war poses an immediate threat to their lives and well-being. With the intensifying of indiscriminate bombing of civilian targets, lives are being lost, and some of them are children. On 7th of March, human rights sources inside Ukraine released actual numbers of children killed, 38 dead and 71 injured. The survivors are rushing to the borders, clad in their winter clothing, holding on to their mothers or elders, trusting hands clasping those of adults, making unplanned journeys to the unknown, to faraway lands where strangers try and make them feel welcome.
Just 2 days ago, we had a transport of 700 kids. And, it's not easy to find a place for anybody, but it's even tougher to find a place for 700 kids in the same one place.
As their homes and lives are torn apart by other unseen strangers, firing big guns from somewhere beyond the dreadful horizon. Natasha, a 16-year-old Ukrainian refugee from before this war even started, writes, "The war came to us, and happiness is no more than a ghost from my dreams." Natasha used to live in the seaside village of Shirokne in eastern Ukraine. The last time she saw her house, she was 11. Natasha writes, "Our hearts are full of sadness. We have no home. The night is black. Every day that the war in Ukraine goes on, every day that the bombs rain from above, every time another school goes up in flames, and every bullet that takes a parent away, another Natasha's heart fills with sadness. 100 hearts sad, and the night stays black."